Hey guys, this is Coach Aleyzr here, and today I will analyze all the new changes on train for you so you can be ahead of the curve. Valve didn't change too much on the map, but it completely changed how the map will be played, and I could imagine Valve didn't even realize that their changes had this huge effect. But let's get into it. I will try my best to keep the video as short as possible, but it's a little bit more complicated, so try to stay with me, guys. By the way, I'm giving away 5 free coaching slots in the next 2 weeks. If you're interested in getting a coaching session, just check out the description or my Discord, and maybe you're lucky and win a free coaching session to get you to the rank you always wanted to get. So obviously the first change that Valve made was the removal or the pushback of the spawns. Previously they were in this area here, and now they're back here. This adds roughly between half and 0.75 seconds to the tease timing, so they're slowed down a little bit, which should in theory make it a little bit easier for the CTs to hold onto this area. But actually it changed something about the A side that actually makes it even easier for the T's to come out, and I will get to that in just a second. They also added this crate here on the Ivy position, which now allows you to peek from up here. I think this is a good change, but in reality it's not that big of a change, because if you're holding an angle like this and someone is peeking here, this is not really hard flick to make, and it's still pretty hard to cross here, and actually it makes it a little bit harder to smoke off the right side, because previously this was exactly the position where you wanted to stand to throw the smoke that blocks off the whole entrance here, but now you can no longer do that. And if you jump on top of the box here, the angle is kind of screwed because you can't throw it high enough, and as you can see, like, it's then not going to go deep enough. So ironically, this actually makes it a little bit harder to take Ivy control. There is a way of smoking the right side from an area like this. I do it where I just line up the wall with the lamp like so, leave a little gap, and then I crouch, aim on top of the pipe here, stand back up, run forward, release the smoke, and then the smoke is going to fly like this, covering off the right side. And then you just have to use a flash to get any AWPer off the left side, and then you can have your AWPer post up here and have teammates scaling up, maybe throw flashes like so, and then get up here, or even just get into the corner or get into a more forward position like this. They also added those barrels here in the corner, which I think is a good change, especially because you're now able to actually hide here and then peek out, because previously T's would just be able to do a molly like this, and then you couldn't be holding anyone from, or couldn't be stopping anyone from running out here, because obviously from the bomb side back here you can't spot them. So now you're able to do this. However, T's can now just throw their molly a little bit more towards the right side, and if you throw it correctly, yeah, this one is not deep enough, but if you throw it correctly like so, it will completely get this corner. Yes, it will also get this corner, and yes, it will also get this position right here. So T's just have to learn how to throw the correct molly, and then this changes completely nullified. So now comes the spicy part, these spawn changes. Valve made these changes, I bet, to change the timings on the A side, but obviously this also means we change the timings on the B side. And here's where I think they fucked up. If the top spawn from the CT side is pushing up the ramp here, the T will be in a position like this. Doesn't seem too bad, right? Well, it kind of is. Let me explain why. If a CT decides to come up here and uses a flash like this and then peeks here, you as a T will have to perfectly dodge this flash, which is kind of impossible, because even if you're running anti-flash and you're waiting for the flash pop and then you pop out, what are you going to do if the flash is not coming? Then you're going to be a complete free kill. What are you going to do if the flash is coming a little bit too late? Because this guy is actually being able to peek with the flash. Like, you're never going to be able to perfectly dodge this flash, so you can't really come out here. Now you could argue, okay, I can come here, dodge the flash, and then just peek here, but the CT that's pushing here can just run here on the right side, check this, and then move into the pop dog area. So as a T, if you're not doing anything to stop the CT from pushing up the ramp, you will just be able to come here and then just take control over this pop dog area. And this is huge, because now you're getting robbed of the possibility to go towards the B side, because what you're gonna do if someone is here and maybe they can have a crossfire with someone here, or maybe someone could be playing here, like, it's super easy once you get into this position as a CT to shut down this area. So obviously this means as a T we have to do something about this. The way I think you should counter this is by coming towards this end here of the door frame and then just aiming at the tip here of this line with a left and right click, and then you just do a nade like so. And this will completely kill anyone that's coming up the ramp here. And you actually have to use the nade as well, because if you're just using the molly, the spread will, like, the spread takes some time, right? So the spread will not cover this area here. So any CT that's pushing up the ramp will just take 1 or 2 ticks and then just keep doing this move here, and losing like 10 HP for getting into a position like this is super worth for any CT. So we actually have to add this additional nade. But here is where it gets really spicy. What if I tell you there's a very simple way to counter this? If you come down here as a CT and you aim just on the like arch here above this wooden beam or wooden board, and then once you cross this imaginary line, use your smoke. So it's gonna look something like this, and then you just use your flash. This smoke will actually cancel the molly, and if T's are also using the nade, they will actually break open this smoke for you, and then you can peek with your flash and farm anyone that's coming here. Yes, you can kill them as the T, but you have to again perfectly dodge the flash. And I tested it with a teammate, and it's kind of a gambly fight. And do you really want to gamble this hard to stop the CTs from doing that and potentially just lose a player for free? Probably not. And as a CT, this is very low risk, because what can happen to you? If they don't nade, you take 0 damage. I can just run out here. If they nade, you take like 40 damage or 30, and it's still fine. I would trade 30 damage for getting into this position here every single day, because it's not that easy to gain back control over this area. Because even if you molly, like I said earlier, it's super easy to have set up crossfires here, and to actually break those crossfires from here, it's super difficult. And I think this is a mistake in the map layout. Yes, as I showed you, it's possible to stop the T's with the molly nade combo, but the molly is not too easy, and it's way easier for the CTs to do a flash like this. Like, this is way simpler. So on lower elo, you kind of fuck anyone that's trying to go B, because if you don't know how to use the molly and the nade combo, well, then CTs will just come out here, and then it's pretty much unplayable. And lower level players will never be able to gain back control over this, because this takes a lot of coordination to break any crossfires that might be set up here. Yes, obviously you can say if the CTs are investing 2 players towards this area here early on, then you can just rush A. But this is all like gamble calls, because what are you going to do if CTs for some reason or in one round just fake this and have 4 people A? Like, this is super gambly. So you're kind of robbed of the possibility of a slow default if you're not super heavily blocking this area as a T. I personally think Valve should change that, and how I would do it is to just open this area here, so the T's don't have to run around, but they could maybe just go in here and then go up the stairs. So you would keep the same timings on the A side, but you would add the old timings back towards this area, which I think were a lot better. But let's see how this plays out. But I actually think on lower elo, this is kind of fucked, because CTs will just push lower ramp and rob you of the entire B side. Now let's talk about the A side, and I think here are some changes that Valve probably didn't think about, and I think these changes actually make it easier for the T's to come out A. Previously with the old spawns, you had spawns that were, I don't know, maybe around this, and then you had some kind of insta lineups which were W jump throws for the gate position, yeah, a little bit towards the right, and then you would have a smoke here. But with these smokes, it meant that the CT AWPer could still be coming out towards this area and hold this cross before the smoke actually blooms. And this meant that the T could cross here, because then the CT is not there yet, but he would be forced to stay behind this line when he's coming out, because once he's crossing here, the CT will be just able to kill him before the smoke is open. And then it's super easy, or it's easier for the CT to block you from coming out, because all he has to do is have maybe molly here, or maybe molly here, or maybe both mollies, or maybe just molly here, nade here, or molly here, nade here. You get the idea. The CT just have to focus on this area here, because this one can be covered by an AWPer. But now with the new spawns, so let me get this spawn here, you no longer do W jump throw, because if you just do W jump throw, the smoke is pretty bad. It's too shallow, then it lands like here, and then it blooms out. This is super ugly. But now what you do one walking step, and then you do the jump throw. So just like the smokes on Ancient here, or like Ancient mid smoke. And this actually means that the smoke is traveling at a faster speed, because you're moving one step, you gain more speed before you release the smoke, and then the smoke is flying at a faster speed. And this means if the top spawn is rushing towards the A side, as you can clearly see, the smoke is already out here. And once he's jumping, the smoke is not open yet, but this is not a problem, because the CT will not be there already. But once he like jumps across here, or it doesn't even have to jump because no one can be there. Once he's here, then the smoke is open. And now this allows the CT to come out on the left side here. And this is where it gets really tricky for the CTs. Because previously, as I said, they only had to focus on this area. But now they have to focus on the whole area here. So they basically have to cover 3 positions. They have to cover anyone that's coming out on the left. They have to cover anyone that's coming out here towards the red train. And they have to cover anyone that's coming out towards the right side. Blocking of the right side, so electric, is not that hard. You just throw a molly like this and maybe a nade, or just a molly. And then what you have to do is you do the molly. You have to run here. You can never run here because you're just gonna get full whited. So if you want to go electric, you have to go here, look down, dodge the flashes, and then come towards this area here. And then sometimes you even from here have to dodge flashes. So you have to kind of play here anti-flash, and then just try to catch anyone that's pushing through the molly. So now we handle this area, but now we have to handle those 2 areas as well. And this is where it gets complicated. I personally think you have to stop this with a second molly, because if someone is coming out here and he's hiding here, this is super dangerous. Even if you make plays with flashes from connector, so let's say you have people from here, connector, flashing, and then you have one guy that might be doing the molly, and then he's coming here, and then he's peeking. If someone is already out here and then there's no molly, he can just wait for flashes from his teammate and then just farm you. Like, this is super easy. So you have to stop this from happening as a CT. So this means you will probably have a molly like here and here. And you can already see what I'm probably getting at is now this means this whole pathway is open. Yes, sure, there are mollies that you can do that land in front of the main like this. So yeah, obviously I failed this one like so, I guess. Yep. And yes, you can also do them inside of the main. But these mollies, if you're doing that as a T, I would just say, okay, fuck this, bro. I just smoke this and then I just come out. Fuck your $600 molly. I just invest 1 smoke and then I'm free to come out here. So yeah, I think this is a little bit tricky now on the A side. You have to stop this from happening. You have to stop this from happening. And then you probably have to have someone that does one of these nades. So maybe he's doing like this nade, an early flash like so. Then he comes here, waits for the con flash, and then peeks here. And then you have a guy that might do an early nade here, and then he dodges, and then he comes out. This is probably the way the CTs have to fight over this control here early. But it's kind of gambly, because you will not have a smoke that lands here early enough to be open, so that when the CT peeks here with his teammate's flash, T-main is smoked. So it's still possible for the T to just wait for the flash, peek out here on the timing, and just kill you. So fighting for this area here is kind of gambly for the CT. Because if T's dodge the flash, they will just get farmed. If they just peek out here and anyone is like close here dodges the flash, he can farm you. So it's not really a reliable way of fighting over this control. And I think if T's recognize that the CTs feel desperate to fight from here with flashes, they will just add an additional smoke like here, I think they will still use this smoke as well, because this leaves the option to explode through the smoke here. But then as a CT, you're kind of fucked. You can't really do this type of plays anymore. And if the Ts do that, I think you have to completely change how you play on the A side. Because if Ts are doing that, you stop them from going out electric, and then you have to kind of forfeit this area. I think CTs will then start to smoke here, use the flash like this, and then just move out here and try to get into this position here. Because if the T smoke here, you know that if a CT, you yourself as a CT throw a smoke like this is completely covered and you can safely move into this area. But then maybe Ts will start spamming here. So it's still kind of difficult for the CTs to hold onto this area, especially if Ts are starting to use this smoke, which they will if they know that you're peeking here. And if they know that you're not peeking here, then they're super free to run out and just farm you. Have some flashes over and then just wrap the side, have this smoke, have this molly, like molly here, smoke here, molly here, smoke here. Just 2 smokes, 2 mollies, and then they just totally wrap this side and kill anyone that's here in the open. So I think the A side is still very rushable. Yes, it takes a little bit more skill, and this is a really good thing. I think it should be very skill based. If you have really good coordination and really good skill in terms of figuring out what the defense look like and then choosing the right pathway for you, then it's still a viable play, and I think this is a good thing. But if the Ts know roughly what they're doing, and on a professional level obviously they know what the fuck they're doing, this becomes really messy. This is like a dogfight, and if you don't have full utility on the A side, you're completely fucked. Like you need so much utility to prevent this from happening, and if you don't, then yeah, you're kind of fucked. And then it becomes like mind games. Okay, low utility, people will like 5 stacking A, playing B retake. Ts will know that CTs have low utility and then like predict this and then rush B. It becomes really mind gamey, and I think it becomes really gambly, and I don't think this will make, like, this is not satisfying for professional teams to have maps that are so gambly. So I think we still need more changes on the A side, and my idea would be open up this area here, bring back up a ladder, and then someone can be moving up here. I get the idea. Probably Valve wanted to kind of reduce the amount of vertical angles here since they removed heaven, for example. But I think this would be a good balance, because this is not a super insanely strong position that this maybe would be. Like if you open this up here, then you no longer can smoke off the whole area here, and then it becomes really easy for an AWPer to just sit back here and kill you. This is not a good change. But if you add in just a ladder here, this position is now viable. It's not extremely strong, it's not super overpowered, but it gives the CT the option to, at least if the T is molly here, to have another position to play from. And maybe if he just crouches here or stays on the ladder, there's a lot of play for hitting good timings and then being really annoying for any T that tries to rush out here. So I personally think adding this would be a really good change. But yeah, guys, let's see how this will play out in a professional scene. I'm very curious about it. What do you guys think? Do you like these changes? Do you think these changes are enough? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And yeah, I think that's it for today. Don't forget about the coaching giveaway in the description. And if you made it this far, maybe leave me a hashtag to the end in the comment section below. I would be very interested if anyone made it this far. Have a wonderful day, guys, and I catch you in the next one. Bye bye.